In our midst, very high-powered, high personalities. We have the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, who is coming in from the back. We have Ambassador Sullivan, Stephanie Sullivan from the United States of America. We have the Ambassador of the Republic of Mali, Son Excellence, Monsieur, he has a very interesting, nice name, Toure. You know, Ghana and Mali and Guinea, we have a special bond. We have Dr. Erica Bennett of the Diaspora and African Forum. We have the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Ziblim Idi. We also have, we actually skipped a very important person. We have the Omahene of Iskado in the Western region, Nana Koblanketia V. We have the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Madame Adelaide Ahirin, and some of our board members, the Mr. Kwame Champon Boatin, who is also the co-chair of Beyond the Return. We have Mr. Akwesia Ewuabibio of the Office of Diaspora and Affairs. We have Madame Comfort Yamwa, Madame Brenda Joyce, Ambassador Nancy Sam, Madame Amy Frimpong. Some of the names, because of the COVID mask, I may not identify you. Pardon me if I missed you, but I know there's Nadia is here, Nadia Dongo from the Office of the Diaspora and Affairs Deputy Director. So we have a very good representation this morning, and we are happy and we are grateful that you've been able to make it to this short but very important and significant event. On that note, I would like to invite Rabbi Halevi Cohen, our own brother from Elmina and from other parts of the world, also of the Pan Affairs Foundation, to give us the opening prayer. Rabbi, please. Okay.
May we all rise. Blessed art thou, O eternal, our power, thou who art the sovereign of all worlds and the master of all souls, thou who makest peace and thou to whom peace belongeth. We come before thee this morning humbled. We come before thee this morning in mourning and in grief. We come before thee this morning to lift up our voices and to stand with the family of George Floyd. We also stand here this morning before thee to lift up our voice and to stand for all of those lives, the thousands, the hundreds of those who have died in similar fashion, who've had their lives cut short by a pandemic that has been with us for far too long, the pandemic of white racism and bigotry and prejudice. It is time, as we stand here this morning at this memorial, to show our solidarity with the family, that we all say enough is enough. But we know, O Lord, that you know all things, and we know that there is a time and a place for all things under the heavens, and that there's been too many mournings and too much grief, and we plead unto thee that you might open up the hearts of man and woman today on the face of this earth, that we might stand up for right and stand against wrong wherever it is that we see it. We need your divine intervention this day. We need your divine intervention in this season. We know that without thee we can do nothing, because those forces that we fight are higher than just flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places. So we call upon thy power this morning to be with the family that is mourning, and the thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions that are mourning along with this family. and for the pressure that has mounted up over the years for the mourning of those who have gone before George Floyd. We still have fresh in our memory Eric Gardner, who also said he could not breathe. We still remember the Michael Stewarts and the Eleanor Bumpers, the Amadou Diallos. The list and the names are too many to mention here, oh Lord, but you know them already. We have cried, but we ask that this time that our tears are the libation. We ask that this time that our moaning and our groaning and our cries are the incense that ascend unto the heavens, that it might move thee on thy throne, that thy intervention may come, and that this time is different, and that we know enough is enough. Our cup is full and it runneth over, but we know that with thy guidance and with thy spirit and with thy divine intervention, that we shall see the light even as dark as this hour and this moment may seem. The hour of despair is over. Even in thine own prophecy, the 400 years that were just celebrated last year is over. The narrative must change. So help us to change our heart and our minds, that we can lead and direct that new narrative into a new light, into a new dispensation, into a new age, where the fellowship of man is respected, and that no one will look at the gift that you've given African people with our melanated character and content and being as a curse, but see it as a blessing for what it is, and that we Africans will have the scourge removed and our glory return, and that we will be a proud people and nobody will look upon us with any scorn, and no one who disrespects thy children will go unpunished. We pray as we go forward with this ceremony that you will lead us in this ceremony in every aspect of it, that you put thy blessings upon it, and that you receive it as if it is a divine offering before thy altar. All this we pray if you bless us. We won't forget to give thy name the honor, the praise, and the glory from this time forth and forevermore. Hallelujah. Amen. Selah Ashe.
Thank you. You may be seated, please. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I also like to acknowledge the presence of the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Mr. Yofi Grant, is also on the steering committee of the Beyond the Return. Also, I see Madame Jessica Ivo of the AAAG. Thank you all for coming. We'll now invite Madame Erica Bennett of the Diaspora and African Forum to give us her statement. Sorry.
Good morning. Good morning. It is a good morning. My name is Ambassador Erica Bennett. My sister, Dr. Tony Luck, called this morning to pray with me. She said, "Black women don't cry." She said, the women, Rosa Parks, and she called the name and the row. And she said, these are women who stand up for justice, who stand up for peace and equality. So I'm going to try not to cry this morning. But when you think of why we're here today, when you think of the systemic injustices, racial injustices in the United States, it's very difficult not to cry. When you have a son and daughters in America who wake up every day and is fearful of the police, is fearful of the justice system in America, it's difficult not to cry. Gianna, the 6-year-old daughter of George Floyd, said, "Daddy will change the world." And Daddy is changing the world. The outpouring of what we've seen around the world, the outpouring of love, the outpouring of, I am sorry that this is happening. We don't understand what you've been going through as African Americans. Daddy is changing the world. I want to just say, and my sister Brenda Joyce here told me that no, we're not singing "We Have Overcome" again. She said, don't get up there talking about, no, we have overcome, because we have not overcome. And that's been 50 years ago. So I won't say that, Sister Brenda, but I feel that we need to overcome. I stand here with my armor on. Ghana is the country that really knows how to give respect to those who pass on. What I stand here with today is my armor. My sister, Princess Okanzi, dressed me this morning. She said, you're going to walk in there with your armor. You're going to be walking in there as though you're going to war. So I stand here, first of all, with my red on my arm, which signifies, all of you with your red on your arm, please pull it up right now. My sister, Princess Okanzi, says this is Ghana's way of saying we're crying, we're weeping. The red signifies that on your right arm, which signifies power. So we stand here today weeping. And as Rabbi so beautifully said, for all those that have gone before us, all those who've been part of the injustice. On Monday at the same place, we did a rally, and a couple of us peacefully walked down to the American Embassy, and we presented a petition. And we want to thank the ambassador who graciously had them receive our petition. And our petition basically said, enough is enough, Rabbi. We have got to touch the conscience of the world to stand with us now. In closing, I just want to thank the Honorable Minister. I want to thank Kwesi Agyemang, who he has been a force behind the diaspora of the Ghana Tourist Authority. He has been the one, when we said we wanted to do it, he stepped up and helped us do it. I want to thank Nadia Musa from the Office of the President, who really, she and Annabelle, came up with this idea of us doing the memorial service for Africa in Ghana. Ghana is the most Pan-African country on our continent. And for us to step up and to do this memorial service makes me very, very proud of the government and the people of Ghana. In closing, I want to say that before we leave, we're going to walk over to the Diaspora Africa Forum building, and we're going to put up the name. We have put up the name of George Perry Floyd on that wall. That wall is a Sankofa wall. Sankofa means come back to your roots. So we're bringing his spirit back today. The family is aware and very appreciative of Ghana for taking that initiative. In closing, George Perry Floyd is changing the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Bennett. Thank you very much. Before I would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Kwesi Abiesi, who is the chairman of the GIPC board. Mr. Abiesi, welcome and thank you for coming. I'll now invite Mr. Kwesi Agyeman, the CEO of GTA, to give us a little remark.
Ago. 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 Respectfully, may I ask that we all rise and observe a minute silence in memory of the many George Floyds who have fallen in the struggle. May his soul and the souls of the many departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Please be seated. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 4:10 that if either of them falls, let a companion lift them up. But pity is the one who falls and has nobody to lift him up. Last year on these sacred grounds where we have the remains of the great W.E. Du Bois, we gathered. On these solemn grounds as part of the year of return. Our president had invited the global African family to come home to the motherland. And indeed, they responded. We responded. You responded. And we gathered as one. And so today, if one of us has fallen, we gather again to lift him up. And as our president said, the destiny of every black man, every African, wherever you are, is tied to the destiny of Africa. And so today we pay respect to all those who were here last year as part of the year of return as we gathered. And we invite everybody that Africa is home. Africa is ready, and Ghana is ready to receive you. It's time to escape to the motherland. It's time for us to unite as one in fighting injustice. If one falls, we all fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agyeman. And I have the privilege of inviting Mr. Kwesi Ewuabebio, the Director of the Office of Diaspora and Affairs and the co-chair of the Beyond the Return, to share a few thoughts with us.
Ago. Good morning, everyone. I stand here today in my own capacity and on behalf of the Diaspora Affairs Office of the President to be part of this occasion to solemnize with you on the death of George Floyd,
and to take this opportunity to also say that there is so much injustice everywhere that we also need to be taken into regard. And I suppose, other people would be talking to make this obvious, so I would leave it as it is. But I'm glad to be here with you. I'm glad to be here today because not long ago, I was not in a position to even join a community of friends. But today I'm here, so I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abibio. Now, I have the singular honor of inviting to the podium the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Honorable Barbara Otin-Jesse.
Good morning, and a special welcome to our brothers and sisters of the diaspora with us in Ghana on this solemn occasion as we observe the memorial service in honor of our brother George Floyd, who was painfully murdered in the United States of America. I am here today to extend to you from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo a very warm welcome to you who have joined us for this event. George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, was cruelly murdered on 25th May 2020 in the United States. The President of Ghana has made his views on this very sad event well known to the international community. On a personal note, and on behalf of the African diaspora, and more specifically the Ghanaian diasporan community, please accept our deepest condolences. We gather here today to pray and remember, as Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I want to use the occasion to draw attention to the injustice that continues to be meted out to our brothers and sisters all across the diaspora in the world, not just to the African diaspora community in China who are being wrongly treated due to the pandemic COVID-2019. I fully agree with Martin Luther King when he said that the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in a period of moral crisis maintain their neutrality. And I want to extend our appreciation to all white people who have joined black people to fight this cause of black people and indicated emphatically that Black Lives Matter. Racism in America continues to be a deadly pandemic, which over 400 years, our brothers and sisters in the United States of America yearn for a cure. George Floyd was not the first black person to use the phrase, "I can't breathe." I can't breathe. I can't breathe. We all need to take a breath as human beings. In 2015, David Dange, a 26-year-old indigenous Australian, cried the same haunting phrase before his tragic death, which brought about a lot of tension in Australia, but didn't change the status quo. But I dare say that the present situation we face today in the year 2020 with the death of George Floyd is going to results in change. One who condones evil is just as guilty as the one who perpetrates it. That is why it is right not only for Chauvin to be charged, but all his accomplices who together with him ensured that George Floyd's life came to a premature end. That is why we gather here today in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the USA to change the status quo. Racism must end. We pray and hope that George Floyd's death will not be in vain, but will bring an end to prejudice and racial discrimination across the world. Chauvin kept his knees in position for over 8 minutes after Floyd started to cry out, "I can't breathe." We continue to open our arms and invite all our brothers and sisters home. Ghana is your home. Africa is your home. We have our arms wide open, ready to welcome you home. Please take advantage. Come home. Build a life in Ghana. You do not have to stay where you are not wanted forever. You have a choice, and Africa is waiting for you. Finally, I say, may the spirit of George Floyd rise like the phoenix from the ashes of racism and lift up all persons of African descent from centuries of subjugation into a new world order. Your death, George Floyd, shall never be in vain. You are and will remain our brother. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you very much. The first wreath will be laid on behalf of the diaspora, and this will be done by Dr. Erica Bennett, supported by Madame Jessica Ivor and Carol Drayton Darko of the U.S. Embassy. So please, Dr. Bennett, Carol, and Jessica.
Obey me, Asemabo. Demini fanana say ye. Gana mada wasyo. asɛm yo. Amen. Asɛm abo. Demini fa nana say yeah.
No, this one.
Ghana madawasio. Osam beri ma bedi akwe. Yama wo demini fa nana ware usam yo. Amen. Asɛm abo.
Ambassador Biden, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The second wreath will be laid on behalf of the Beyond the Return, and it will be done by Lawyer Kwame Boateng Champong, Mr. Kwesi Ajimai, and Annabelle Mackenzie. Hold on. The last and final wreath will be done by the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Honorable Barbara Otinjesi, supported by the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Dr. Ziblim Idi, and the Board Chairperson of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Madame Adelaide Ahring, on behalf of the government and the people of Ghana. Thank you very much, Honorable. We will now proceed to the Diaspora and African Forum office for the unveiling of the name of George Floyd on the memorial wall. So that's the next part of this morning's event. We'll all proceed to the other side of the building and to the wall and unveil the name of George Floyd on the memorial wall.
There are many, but today they'll George as a symbol that symbolizes all of them, and to reset and say today there's a new law about the second commandment, the second amendment. We're saying let's release a new weapon of my salvation. That weapon is love, and it is in love that we brought our brother's spirit back. It is in love that we want the new world to move. The new world order should be based on love and no more violence. And so we speak to say, we breathe no more injustices. We want to breathe in love. Thank you.
So we're going to have the honorable minister to actually come and lift this on behalf of the government and the people of Ghana. So she'd like to do it with the chief, and we're honored to have him here. So we want to say that, and of course we're honored also to have Rabbi Cohen, who has been our pillar of support in this community of Ghana.
All right.
George Perry Floyd, may his soul and his spirit rest in peace. Amen. The last words he said to his mother, "Mother, I'm on my way." And I'm sure his mother said, "We're here to receive you. I'm here to receive you." So we want to just again thank everybody for coming today. This has been an incredible, incredible, incredible day. Of course, I just cannot say thank you to my brother here, Augusta, who has really, really stepped with us all through this whole process. So we do want to say thank you to you very much. Is there any question? One more moment of silence for George Perry Floyd. Sankofa, back to your roots.
He cried for his mother, and now his mother Africa, the soul of Africa, is receiving his spirit. And we call that spirit across the waters to come home and to rest in peace. And we give thanks and praise to the sons and daughters of Africa that have recognized their own kilted kin and have received his spirit and invited his spirit. He, along with the living, at his place of peace is at home with Mother Africa. The womb of Mother Africa cries out for her sons and daughters, and may they be comforted in the cry of her mother.
Amen.
We shall overcome.
She told me not to sing that.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Everyone, please sing. Deep in the heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
That we just finished here today is a program to be in solidarity with the hundreds of thousands of people who are solemnizing and memorizing the life of George Floyd in the United States of America. It is important that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora know that Africa stands with them as one people. And whatever happens to African people in one place, African people feel it in every place. And so Ghana carries the Black Star of Africa. And Ghana has always been the Mecca for people in the diaspora. And so it's important that Ghana was able to show its solidarity by standing together today in this symbolic program to say we stand with the family of George Floyd, but we also stand with the families of all those who have suffered throughout the years of this brutality that's taken place by the law enforcement agents and by other institutions that have upheld the ideology and the doctrine of white supremacy. And that this march is in solidarity for the loss of his life, but it's for all of the other lives that we see that have been lost throughout the years. And also to take a stand against the bigotry, the racism, and the institutions that uphold these ideologies and doctrines, that they must come crumbling down. And everybody must stand up for this. This is not a fight just for African Americans. It's not a fight just for African people. It's a fight for humanity. And anyone who has a humane soul or conscience must stand up for this right, which is a universal God-given right.
Okay, also for diaspora people, are you is Ghana the only country hosting, or all African countries are also hosting this program?
Well, they will be doing their own exercises. There are people who are doing things in other places and expressing themselves. But as I said, because people all over Africa take their lead from Ghana, it is important that Ghana perform this exercise here today. The justice that we seek is an equal justice system that sees every human being as equal before the face of the law. The justice that we seek is a justice system that sees every human being equal before the face of the law. That is the justice that we seek. So it's not just about the law enforcement agents or about the police. It is about the systemic system that has supported racism through its institutions and supported that there is such thing as white right and black suffering. And so it must be ended. Human beings must be human beings. And if there's a law, the law must be the same for every human being on the face of this earth. That's why we say no justice, no peace. Because if we're made in the image and likeness of God, who can condemn the image of our melanin and of our blackness and of our beautiful black skin? God made us in his own image and his own likeness. And so when you offend any human being for the color of their skin, then you've offended God's creation. And this is the only way we can get justice, when we do the right thing. So justice will not only start with the prosecution of those who committed this heinous murder and execution, but it's to go within the system itself that gave them the mind to think that they can do this and get away with it. That consciousness, that mind must be also attacked, that no one would have the thought that they can violate a human life and get away with it and feel comfortable with it and feel that they have a system that supports that. This man, the breath of life in each and every one of us is the gift of God. And no one has the opportunity, no one has the right to take that under any circumstances, especially when you have not gone through any process of law to be found guilty of any crime.
Rabbi, there's a lot of people now who are saying they want to move to Africa after what's happened. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's the solution?
I think it's a viable option and an alternative, and it should be able to be exercised for those who have the heart and the spirit to do so. I don't think it should be done so in a spirit of running away or in a spirit of retreat. I think it should be done in a spirit of inspiration that Africa has opportunity. Africa has golden opportunities. Africa has promises. And we must no longer see Africa as a punishment and Africa as a place of darkness, Africa as a place that doesn't have human beings. That's part of the problem. People have portrayed Africa as a place of savages and subhuman beings. And that's at the root cause of the discrimination that takes place with Africans abroad. Because they don't respect Africa, they don't respect people of African descent. So we must welcome any and all of our brothers and sisters who have that desire. We need to encourage governments all over Africa, starting with Ghana, to be able to legislate laws that can anticipate the return of Africans from the diaspora, so they have right to their citizenship and they have right to their legal existence here without being hampered. So I think that they should consider Africa as a viable option that some of us already have. It is a viable option. But
I learned you are the president of Panafest, if I'm right.
The executive director.
Yes. Taking George Floyd's issue as an example, Panafest, what measures or what are you going to do so that such incident does not happen again?
Panafest is going to stay consistent with what it has always done, because we for 27 years have been given festivals for the Pan-African community to come to Africa to experience their brothers and sisters as a family. And it is that kind of programs, that kind of platform and forums that we need to create so we demystify Africa and the African experience so we get to know each other. That when I look at you in your eyes, I see my sister. When you look at me in my eyes, you see your brother. And we're not an estranged people. And that's part of what Panifest has been doing throughout the years. Part of what Emancipation Day has been doing throughout the years. Part of what the Year of Return did last year. We must integrate with one another, interact with one another, and remove the barriers that psychologically think that we're different and separated.
I'm Princess Okansi, Chancellor for the Necotech Center of Excellence, which was formed by the late Isaac Hayes of the United States of America, which was formed by the late Isaac Hayes, co-founded with me many years ago. I've spent over 40 years of my life in the U.S., but I'm born in Ghana. And at a very tender age of 9, an African American told me about slavery. At age 15, I visited the slave dungeons, and for 2 years I was traumatized with mental. I was sick, because when I heard that people were treated the way they were treated, it impacted me. And I say today we are talking about somebody's knee on another neck. That's what has symbolically been happening with the injustice and the racism. Literally, a knee has been on our neck, on our development, on our growth, on our being. Since for 400 years, a knee has been on the neck of Africa and Africans all over the world, and we want this to stop. We are seeing this as a time for a reset, and that it is time for the world to start looking forward. Mandela would say that at this time, if we say we're going to be bitter, that would not be the answer. We have to be better. And when change comes, you're either a victim of change or a victor of change. We want to be victors of change. We're asking the world to practice the royal law of law. The royal law of love is the highest weapon that we can use for mass salvation of our people. If we say we are fighting back and we fight back with violence, we will not go anywhere. We're looking for a new world. We're looking for a new black experience on this earth. And I know the God who sits on the throne, whose hair is wool like my hair, is speaking on our behalf. This thing is different this time because the 400 years has been served. This is prophetic according to Genesis 15 verse 13 to 14. It says, my people will be in a place where they'll suffer for 400 years. After that, I will judge the nation that oppressed them. So what we are seeing is a time of judgment. But the Lord also says that if we will humble ourselves and pray and turn from our wicked ways, He will heal the soil. So I ask God to heal America. As white people come out, as policemen get on their knees, as other people join in, we call for a time of healing. The world is tired, and we're saying never again.
What have been done to develop the stations were done by black people. I've had the privilege of studying in Europe, both in Hungary and in the UK. And I can tell you that most work that is done in those parts of the world, black people played a lot of role. And so we should not really forget the impact of the black. And it is very evil for one to take the law in your hands and to hate somebody because the person is black. God created us in His own image. And whether you are black or you are white, we are one people. When you cut me now and you cut a Caucasian, what will come out is blood. And this blood is same from heaven. So I think we have a responsibility. We really have a collective responsibility as a people and as nations of the world and as leaders to condemn in all certainty this issue of racism. Being anti-black is evil and must not be endorsed at all, must really be condemned at all levels. I'm standing here today as a religious leader, also as an intellectual, as an economist and an international relations aspirant. And from what I've read over the years in university, as a student of international relations, I can tell you that there's nowhere in the world has racism helped any community. It agitates people. The sort of marches and demonstrations we are seeing today, in this time of this pandemic where we are faced with a serious challenge of COVID-19, is very needless because somebody became racist and became anti-black to destroy one of us. So we have to come together in a massive united front, regardless of how rich you are, how blessed you are, how educated you are, and how poor you are. We all need to come together in the massive united front to fight racism. And I'm happy that most of our Caucasian brothers are seeing the wisdom in joining hands with we, the black people, to fight racism.
So do you think this demonstration that has been staged worldwide can actually change the narrative? Because right from Rosa Parks down to George Floyd, this is what America or this is what blacks have been facing outside Africa?
I think it's always important for one to establish disapproval. An unacceptable act gives a wake-up call. So what is happening is a wake-up call to all and sundry around the world. There are people who are still racism in their mind, in their leadership, and they hide behind certain people to do certain things. So I think it's a wake-up call. Of course, in every demonstration, there will be casualties. There will be unfortunate incidents because there are people who become so emotional and their approach becomes unacceptable. But whether we like it or not, these demonstrations were very needless if we had not allowed this to happen in the first place. So they needed it to bring that wake-up call for everybody to know that we can't sit down again. We are proud to be blacks. And it's not our fault to be blacks. God made us black. And there's a reason why God made us black. If you've already watched the keyboard before, there are black notes and white notes. And until you bring all those notes together, you don't have a rhythm. But for the black community, there wouldn't have been the existence of white community. And but for the white community, there wouldn't have been existence. So we have to coexist. It's not our fault at all. It is unfair and very evil for one human being, an individual human being, to wake up and stand because of his race, to undermine the credibility of another race. That is not acceptable. And it is not Bible. And as a man of God, I want to always say that let's look at the God factor. You know that God created us in his image. We are black and white together.
My name is Yabuating, and my artist name is Zozo. And I've lived in New Zealand and traveled around the world for years, for 14 years in New Zealand. One bema ya muhu ni mfoni ewo minima ase ni efene George Floyd no. Se mo say ewiase afane nyina sisi obi a bonidin George Floyd amafo bebre nti ase. Ti a won ti ase ne say George Floyd no oye bibini ti se menewo. Na dia esi ewo wiase mo no. Eno na George Floyd ni wo no akwakọ trigger sansem we nyina. Oye nipa oye bibini o America. Na every day be you took kwan ye ko bebia no ya ye ka se abrofo ekum ye nuanom na so ye ka se omu kum ye a ya na manfo enti ase na senia omu kum ye no ebini dia eto George Floyd no George Floyd oye American na Minneapolis a ono so ti se obi a oye adwuma but police for eche no eno mudi a friend is omunan esi ndi konso eno muku no that the enti ya gada wa ha enen say video na ba out so far there obi ani ma de pote oye ye nti a police for no ekoche no sesi ye nyina na ye twen se police for no de beba say oh ade we na oye ye nti na omo ye den omo koche no but say uye nipa na say police be che okura na police en wo so otimi kum straight forward me boa Ghana ha ye wa ha say no enya de ye ka so wa ye bibi nti no police for ba ya pa ne ba be so mu ne ba be kum but the nti asase mu akokoba ne say ewiase afana no uyi bibini na so wo hono ma brodi timi ya wayawade bia sa yawade no betima ye wo no waye bibi o unye bibi ye kura no timi justify ka se waye no wekum nti Floyd so wo hwe se dia akwane ni 9 edisi ni konso a odisi ni konso sa mani wuye ni nuanu police fo bi so gina nche omo san boa no omo so mankasa nti imagine say anka obi ani wo no man ko twa video a ye hu se sa se wo na to na nka obi ehu Sasem we no eto amanfo every day is been happening to black people all around the world. Coronavirus boy asem hu ye. Chinese for hu say that den. No mu person we den. Omu yi yenkrofo nyina ana omu kum yenkrofo e wo China. Sa ade wenti na George Floyd aba beji din. E din na waje ni say ye pese racism ekoso e wo wiase mu nyina no e end. Into when we say Africa for a celebrate here. Ye celebrate because racism na ye face or other part of the world no is big. So we want to end global justice for black people. We need global justice for black people. Yentimi nka se oye bibini black American we wunti no emfa ho ye de yetie kuro ha se on de na sem de ene agara America for de but munka hunu se san krofo na hu mo America mo ye bibifo no ye de mu fie kuro ha se ye na nanom ne ye chi omo by force ne de fie omo kuro ha se ene ye de omo call omo tena ho more than 400 years. Last year Nana Akufo-Addo omo organize year of return. As it any say, young crow for you fee has a call among almost more than 400 years until almost almost befie 400 years na money crofond the up to now mumpo masem up to now muda hukum bibini a yekum no nkyerɛ sɛ bia yebekum oni black American no sɛ broni kitetu na so bekum bibini a ɛmfa no ho sɛ ɔyɛ Nigeria ni o sɛ ɔyɛ Ghana ni o sɛ ɔyɛ Guinea ni o ɔyɛ Mali ni o de bi ni deɛ ne sɛ yɛaka kyerɛ ne sɛ sɛ ohun bibini na so obetumi ku na onku no saa asɛm wɔ ne yɛpɛ sɛ yɛden etimi agyae nti George Floyd no, he is the face for Africans coming together fighting for justice. You get what I mean? If we don't come together and fight for justice for black people, it will continue. Each and every day, people are dying. George Floyd is just one of them. George Floyd is just one of them. And we want justice for George Floyd. One more boy, George, I was saying to me, they need to come to a better judgment. That is why you see all around the world now. And you before I saw you, I brought for na sem na affect you. Say, one case on crop for a multimedia, before, sir. And this is the story of George Floyd.